And then, when you have stopped crying, you look at what is your greatest need right now. For some, it's for the bond to be paid. For others, it's the rent money. For others, it's the car installment because they don't want to lose their cars. For others, it's just to have food. What is your greatest need that you have? Because your greatest need is attached to your greatest fear. And for the need to be answered, you need to identify the fear. And when you identified the fear, then you strike. If the fear is that you're going to lose your car, how do you deal with that? You say, because remember this, faith works where we cannot see. But for faith to work, you need to keep it up consistently. And sometimes the mess is so big, you don't even know where. There's no food, there's no money, there's nothing. It's so much going on, you don't even know what to focus on because everything seems urgent. How do you then find your place of hope and faith? What is the one thing, your biggest need right now? Is it money? Is it the fear that your car will be taken? That your home will be taken? Is it that there won't be food for us to eat? What is it? Identify that. And then you declare what you want to see. If your fear is that you will lose your car, then you say, this car has been given to me as a gift. Because you need to understand to see how good things work. No person has the power to bless you or to curse you. No one. So how good things work? We are only vessels for things to come through. Which means you got that car because you were in good standing with the bank. And they could give you the car. So now you need to declare, I am in good standing with the bank. This car belongs to me. It is mine. It is a blessing. You need to remind yourself of the goodness of that car. Not that it's, don't tell yourself, oh, it's a burden. What was I thinking? No. Give thanks. Give thanks and praise for your car. Give thanks and praise that at a time you were in good standing enough to get that car. Claim it. Own it. But you have to believe it. You must feel a sense of peace, acceptance, contentment. And you must not feel any fear. Because fear and desperation are some very good buddies. So can you understand now why I said this is the most difficult thing that you will ever do? Because now you're not just fighting for the car or the food or the house or the rent or whatever it is that you are fighting for. You are fighting for your faith. You are fighting for hope. You are fighting for your blessings. You are fighting for your life. This is what this is all about. You are fighting loss, and loss is evil. You are fighting evil on all fronts. Don't sugarcoat this. Don't want to justify or ignore it. You have to be resolute. And you need to be so determined and so focused that you don't see anything else. And here's another thing. Part of the war on evil is to be selective of who you allow in your life. That cannot be stressed enough. You will find people, they love to hear about your problems, but they offer no solutions. Nothing. They cannot even come up with what can you do. But When it comes to your problems, they love to hear it. Get them out of your life. You don't need people who remind you of your struggle or the poverty or the lack, or to remind you, oh, you haven't paid your car, you are going to lose it. You don't need people like that. And if that is your wife or your husband, tell them, where is your faith? Because I find people go to church every week. They can quote scriptures from the Bible. They can tell you how often they pray. But when it comes to putting all of that in action, they are the first ones to panic. You don't need them. You know, I said this before and I will say this again. When it comes to who you allow in your safe space, you need to be brutal, unapologetic about who is part of your life. I don't care whether I've known you for 30 years or 20 years or 15 years. If I pick up that we don't grow together, then you must go. You don't have to be rude about letting people go. It's just like, you know what? This isn't working. But you know what I find very interesting? When you make up your mind about how you want your life to be, you will find people who do not serve a purpose or who have outstayed their welcome. You will find they just disappear out of your life. Some, it will be painful when they go. Others, you will just realize, I haven't heard of this person for a while. People will be removed who don't serve a purpose. So if you are desperate, to fight against desperation, it becomes a fight for your sanity more than all, a fight for your peace. And you have to keep on doing it, day in, day out, until you begin to see the change. Let's talk about spiritual, how it works. Remember your desperation. It built up over time, right? Over time. Until it became this huge, groot, fat, big, massive ball of problems, right? So now, you start believing. You start praying with intent. And remember, your thoughts become your prayer. What I mean with that is what you are thinking is what becomes your prayer. If you start thinking, all my needs are being provided, all my prayers are answered, all my needs are met, God provides in all my needs, I have more than enough. So now you say that and you wait. Nothing happens. And you say it tomorrow. Nothing happens. People still call you. Your situation hasn't changed. Nothing happens. And you're like, whatever, this doesn't work. You know what? I'll just stay stuck in desperation. No. You don't give up. You don't. Because what happens when you believe? And the test of your faith and your belief isn't God who's testing you. The test of your faith and your belief is how long are you prepared to keep up the fight before you see the results. You need to fight this with all you've got. You need to do what needs to be done. You need to give it all you've got. There are no half measures. No, by the way, not sommer. This is a fight for your soul. And you need to be determined and focused. So what happens when you keep it up? Because God works where you cannot see. You just keep it up. There's no results. There's nothing around you to show that things have changed. In fact, at times it seems as if it's even worse. You keep on. Remember, you need to be crazy to fight this war. Because if you do what society dictates, you're going to lose the battle. You need to be crazy, unorthodox, the maverick, the rebel. And craziness requires that when your cupboards are empty, that you say, you know what? My cupboards are filled to capacity. Every single food I like, I love, enjoy, it's in that cupboard. That sounds crazy because there's nothing. When you are struggling to pay your car, and you say, my car is paid in full. I thank God it's paid in full, it's paid up. That car is mine. It's crazy, right? Because you are battling to fight. Sorry, you are battling to fight, to pay your bills. What happens when you believe? When instead of the fear, you start believing with your thoughts, with your mind, with your heart. You keep on hoping against hopes, against common sense, against logic. You believe against everything that makes sense. You keep on believing what you want to see. Do you know what happens? Oh my God. You know what happens? Things start lining up in your favor. We all hear that, but we don't understand it. This is what happens because we are dealing here with the spiritual world. Desperation is a demon. You don't fight a demon with flesh and blood. You fight it with your thoughts, your feelings, and then your actions follow. So in the spirit world, everything that you've ever wanted is there. So now when you believe against all common sense, and everyone else will say this is gibberish, it's nonsense. But when you are desperate and you have nothing to hold on to except hope, you become irrational. You need to be irrational if you really want to believe and practice faith. Things will start to change little by little. You won't even notice it at first. You won't. But one day, that one day can be a month, 2 months, 3 months. It can be immediately. You will notice that when was the last time I stressed about my car installment? And then, when was the last time I stressed about buying food? About the things that matter. So this war, to win the war, you need to stay the course. To stay in the war, you need to bring your A game. You need to find your strategy and your tactics. And you need to have a dream that you hold onto. And when you win the first battle, with the next battle, your dream becomes bigger. Your vision becomes bigger. Because you must go beyond the point that you are just praying and hoping for food in your cupboard, for a car installment. You need to take God for how big and powerful He is. And then you start thanking Him for the big thing that you think is impossible. But for Him, it's nothing.